Okay. That's interesting, man. I've never heard that. And another thing I think is important for the people who are looking at you, looking at some of our other top producers using these IULs, how much study do you think is necessary for agents in order to get into this? Like, can that person who wants to make the jump just make the jump, or are they gonna fall on their face? Because I think you need to be educated, but you're a lot more in it. If you could speak to that person who's like, hey man, like what do I need to know before I get started? Like, what do you recommend for that person to understand how to get to that point where if that business owner is like, yeah, I'm ready to pull the trigger, you're like, okay, cool, 15 minutes, I'm gonna get this illustration to you. Boom. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So I got asked this I did an agency call the other day, and this came up too. Like, what do you think the process is? The first 2 years in final expense, I failed. Like, I went negative in this business. I'll put my hands up. Like, I'll be the first one to let anyone know it was not a fun first 2 years in this business. Did I make sales? Yeah, I had a 96 persistent rate. Like, I barely had chargebacks, but I wasn't getting that many sales in the
Mm.
final expense field because I was doing in homes. I was in a very poor area where I'm at. So like my average final expense sale was 350. Oh yeah, exactly. Like it was bad. I'm in Welfare Central. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I knew there was other options, and I learned about IULs about a year ago. And I spent 9 months from 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night every single day, learning and grinding, learning the Internal Revenue Code, learning taxation, learning what an IUL is in and out, what compound interest is, how it actually is utilized, what is indexing, how does an IUL actually consistently have a zero floor? How can an IUL be brought into a business structure and be utilized for both employee and employer? So I sat down, learned all of that over, a 9 month span of, I mean, if I had to put it, I condensed maybe 2, 3 years of time frame into a very short amount of time of just consistently grinding. So whenever someone says, hey, how did you just go and submit 100K in a week? I could promise you it was 2 years of learning, of failing, and then 9 months of just consistent grinding, literally 18 hours a day of just, here's all the education I can possibly learn before I even implemented it. Vice, what most people do is they try to get into it and fail forward. I learned
Mm.
all the information, and then as soon as I got into it, like my first week was 30, then 85, then 120. Like it scaled quickly, but that's because all the information was there at the beginning. So all
Right.
I had to do was put the systems in place.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that because that's a question that I have a lot more people that are in our final expense programs that want to now transition to IULs because they see all the big premiums and it seems like this, oh, I don't have to work type of feel. But then I was